common issues in relation to pelvic floor and exercising?
A common one that a lot of people don't know about is having a hypertonic pelvic floor, which is often your pelvic floor is switched on all the time, or considerably more than it should be, and you don't actually know how to relax. And the weird thing about that is it often has the same symptoms as what a weaker pelvic floor would have, like the leakage and not being able to hold things in, like the and poo and stuff. But one of the biggest things is it can cause pain, and when exercising, when having intercourse and that kind of thing. So with the hypertonic one, you may think that you've got a weak pelvic floor, but in fact, it's actually overworked and it's overstressed, and that's why it's really important before you start getting back into exercise, or you're having issues. Don't think I'll just do some more Kegel exercises, because potentially you could be making it worse. So it's really important that you get the Women's Health Physio and get it diagnosed. I thought mine was weak. Turns out it was potentially some of it on a lot more than it should have been. So I was thinking, and yeah, so it's really, really important, especially for people that are quite and job, life, that kind of thing. You can actually hold the tension in their pelvic floor without actually realising it. So that's important, and athletes as well, like high performance athletes can be known to have that. Also important, if you are pretty fit, go get your checkup before you have a baby with Health Physio, and they might actually help.
And I'll just add that if the first exercise you learn to do after you have a baby is to breathe correctly, because when you have a big full belly, you're breathing from the top of your lungs, but actually we want those big deep belly breaths. So when baby is out and you can start breathing deep into your tummy again, then that will work nicely with your pelvic floor. And one of the ways we can sort of down train or switch off that pelvic floor is that breathing pattern. So breathing is the number one exercise for all new mums to get your breathing right.
It helps with the abdominal separation as well, with that breathing and getting that healing and stuff. So that will get the transverse abdominal muscles switching on and working correctly as well. Because we haven't really mentioned abdominal separation, but it's when your rectus muscles, so the six-pack muscles, they kind of stretch for baby, and the connective tissue in between stretches. Sometimes when you have your baby, it might not come in right, and you can have some effects that can affect your pelvic floor. But there's also new evidence to say that pelvic floor also supports, it helps the pelvic floor in pregnancy. So everything's sort of flipped around at the moment, but it's just making sure the breathing and being aware of your body is really, really important and what it's up to.
And I'll just go back to that abdominal separation thing, because I think people often are very frightened of abdominal separation. And if you look at the research, about 100% of women having a baby will have an abdominal separation. You cannot grow a baby in your tummy unless your muscles move. There's just nowhere for it to go. And if you start looking and analysing your tummy in those early weeks after you have your baby, the likelihood is you're going to find a large separation. That is very normal, and it does come back together over time. For some women, it will come back quite close, and for others, there will be a larger gap. But from a physio point of view, what we're worried about is, does that woman have control over their abs? Can they lift their baby? Can they exercise and get their muscles to work and support their tummy muscles, rather than is the gap 2 centimeters or 10 centimeters? We're much more worried about what is the width, how deep is it, and how much control has that woman got over that abdomen to support them in the things that they're doing. So again, this is where a women's health physio or anyone who's postnatally trained in exercise can help you to pick the right exercises which are actually training the muscles in the right way to support your tummy. So constipation is one of my favourite topics. People don't really talk about constipation. It's not really a nice thing to talk about when you're a new mum, but if you are constipated, it has so much impact on your pelvic floor health that often if you can sort the constipation out, then all the pelvic floor stuff kind of sorts itself out. So it's really common to become constipated in pregnancy in that early postnatal period. The pregnancy hormones slow the digestive system, so actually the stool is in the bowel for much longer and therefore becomes dehydrated and harder to pass. And as well as when you've got your baby in the way, you haven't got that natural breathing which helps to move all your digestive stuff around. And then in that early postnatal period, it can be really frightening to have that first bowel motion. So often people delay it, and then that actually makes the constipation worse. And the reason we don't like constipation is because when you are straining to go to the toilet, it puts load on that pelvic floor, which is already weak, and it may already be a little bit damaged from childbirth. And so it actually just doesn't give that pelvic floor a chance to heal. So if we get rid of the constipation, the pelvic floor has more time to settle down. It's not being put pressure on, and it actually heals and gets stronger much faster. So just be mindful of what you're eating and drinking, making sure everything is nice and soft to pass. Water is really important, especially for those breastfeeding mums. When you have the urge to go to the toilet, try and go straight away. If you delay it, it will actually make it much harder for it to come out, which is all very well when you've got a new baby, but try and wait for that urge, and when you've got it, go. And toilet position is really important, with your knees up or your feet on a stool or something to raise those knees up, and that will actually put your bowel in the right position to go to the toilet. So those are simple things that you can do to really improve that bowel health, and it will often have a huge impact on your pelvic floor.
So true, eh? Like that stool, people laugh it off, but you've got a kid's stool, just pop it down under your
Totally. Yeah, a couple of toilet rolls, then it's quite discreet. Definitely.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm just going to talk about returning to sex, because often once you've had a baby and you're surrounded by all these medical professionals, sex is often the last thing on your mind, so you don't ask that question, and then you get a few weeks or whatever down the track and you think, actually, am I allowed to have sex? So again, this is really individualized, but generally it's not recommended that you have sex in the first 4 to 6 weeks. Again, we're trying to get some good healing going on there. We don't want to create, if there was stitches or your cesarean section, we just don't want to create any additional trauma. So let's give it some time to settle down. And then after that, it's completely individual. So you may feel ready at that point. It may take many more months or years or whatever. Whatever is right for you is right for you. Often it will be a little bit uncomfortable or painful the first time, so it's recommended that you just take your time, use plenty of lube, change your position depending on what feels comfortable, and then go from there. The pain, if it is painful to start with, that should improve. If the pain is not improving as the times go on, then that links back to what Kirtsy was saying about the hypertonic or overactive pelvic floor. So it may not be that it's normal, it's actually the pelvic floor is too on, it's too tight and actually making sex painful. So it may be uncomfortable to start, but if it should improve, and if it doesn't improve, that's when to seek help.
And also, if you got stitches, like from an episiotomy or something like that,
yeah,
really important. That's also important with the constipation as well.
Yeah, totally, and infection, yeah.
So if you are feeling like you're scarring, like quite bad scarring, or even loss of feeling as well can be there. So get that checked out. I mean, your GP should be able to check, or obstetrician, or the women's health physio. But yeah, just really make sure you're looking after your health, because women aren't necessarily looked after like they should be. So we really want to change that. Oh, and another one I had for me actually is posture. Posture is really important, because a lot of mums sit with their baby on their hip and all that kind of thing, and it can knock a few things out. And they also find the glutes get quite weak, which can put pressure on the pelvic floor as well, if we're standing funny. And then we get to those kind of things which not in a great posture position a lot, and our body just gets used to it, and that can cause a wee bit of pelvic floor problems as well. Breastfeeding, you can often sit quite like everything punched over and stuff, and you tend to get quite sore shoulders, tightness through the shoulders and neck, back gets a bit sore, that kind of thing. So it's important to pull things back, okay? So when you're not feeding, think Baywatch. chest out, okay? You can strut yourself around the house if you want. It's up to you. But also make sure you've got a supportive bra and all that kind of thing when you are exercising. And if you need to feed baby, there's some great maternity sports bras out there as well. But ensure that they are supported, so you don't cause any damage with that. And it's also important to realise that for some people, a very, very minute amount of people, excessive exercise can change the taste of the breast milk or something to do with the breast milk. The baby potentially may not enjoy that. I don't know what it is, but it can change it.
If you think life has this, you need this many calories for life, and then you need this many calories for breastfeeding, then you need this many calories for exercise, you've got to make sure you're getting the calories in and the fluid in. And like you said, if you don't want to drop that milk supply, or you don't want to get injured, so it's really, really important. And also just be mindful that if you are an athlete that doesn't have any kids, you can sleep and you can recover and you can foam roll, you can do all of this other stuff, which as a mum you just can't. So if you have a couple of bad nights and your eating's been a bit crap, and then you plan to do this big exercise session, actually maybe think, today's probably not the best day to do that. I can do it in a few days once I've had maybe a bit better sleep or something. So just being really mindful that you don't be frightened about exercise, but also you can't do it all, and you just have to be sensible about what you're prioritizing and fitting things in around your life and your baby and your eating and your drinking and everything like that.
The great thing about exercise, just so we know, is it will make you feel better as well. So it doesn't have to be a super high intense workout. Could be yoga, could be a walk around the block, could be anything, sitting on a bike, whatever. But don't stress that you have to do this and this because your best mate over there has recovered really well and they can go every single person. Every pregnancy, every birth, everything is different, okay? You'll be different from if you're on your second kid, fourth child. It's all going to be different. The recovery will be different. Make sure you're aware that you don't have to recover like a supermodel. You don't have the trainers, the chefs, the doctors, all that. You don't have that. Have that in your own time and do it.